Okay, welcome class to the first session and first lecture of comparative urban research. So we've talked about in the introduction of this research that comparative planning or comparative urban planning, we call it comparative urban studies as well. So comparative urban research, basically this is one of the basic, or you can say a core uh, subject in which we'll be revisiting the philosophies or the developments in the field of urban planning. So we'll be talking about or comparing Pakistan conditions with the rest of the world, how certain countries or cities even have progressed regarding resolving certain problems or issues or challenges uh, in their own countries or in their own cities. So before we start about that, then we must talk about that what are the challenges or opportunities faced by the world. So right now we are living, which planners sometimes call that we are living in the world of cities. Like rather than talking about how some countries are competing against each other in for economic development or even social development, right now we have now shifted towards how certain cities are competing against each other. For example, in Pakistan, there are a lot of tussle between different cities even for progress and for development. And the same goes for these countries. Even if you have studies, if you have looked into certain jokes and everything, so they have seen that there are some jokes about how different Karachi people are from Lahore. So they're kind of a tussle in that. Similarly, in rest of the world, for example, people of New York, they're always talking negative about aspects of Los Angeles, and similarly, Los Angeles people are talking about same about New York, New Yorkers. So what is happening right now over the world is that okay, we knew the countries are fighting for the supremacy or they're fighting towards grabbing the economic powers. There are certain cities play a very vital role. Cities are basically fighting within a country to achieve or excel. If a certain city exceeds in power, economic power, we call it political power, if that city has a lot of control over the province or even the country. So right now the cities play a very major role. So now we call that this is not the world now. This is a world of cities. Now one city is competing against another city. So they're in the come in the role of urban planners or the urbanization challenges. So more or less, if we talk about different urbanization challenges and opportunities, they are more or less same. So I hope there are some urban planners in this discussion. So if you have, what kind of problems I'm talking about? What challenges, main challenge do you think is the main challenge in your city? So I can let's take some question, some your views. So by raising your hand, maybe I'll call your name, or maybe you can raise your hand. So in your own city, it might be your like a small city, might be your medium city, might be a metropolitan, might be a mega city. So in your country or in your city, which one do you think is the one of the biggest problem? Yes, Mubashir, you can start, and you can tell by from where you are, and then you can introduce your city and everything. Yes.
Okay, sir. Sir, I am Mubashir. I am from district Sahiwal
Okay,
in
Mubashir,
Punjab.
sorry to interrupt you. If you can turn on your video, if it's possible at all, so I can understand and
Actually,
we can have.
sir,
Okay,
actually, I'm still in office,
okay,
so
that's fine.
it's
That's
pretty
fine. Okay,
difficult.
go ahead.
Okay, sir. Sir,
Yes.
I have my question regarding the city issues. Sir, is it necessary the city boundary? Likewise, we see in our major districts and the city boundaries in Punjab, there is lacking in this. We are more likely diverted towards the electoral processes and boundaries. But when we call about the planning issues in a city, in a specific point in cities or districts or in a division, so the city planning and city boundary is a major issue, I think. Likewise, in Lahore, in Karachi, the boundary, the city boundary is a very we can say the core issue in our cities in Punjab and different provinces in Pakistan.
So Mubashir, where are you from? Which city?
Sir, I'm from sir, Sahiwal, sir,
Okay, so
district
Saiwal. So
Sahiwal.
okay, Saiwal or district Saiwal. What do you think the biggest problem in Saiwal?
Sir, city boundaries is because city is expanding in a very irregular manner. We can say the zigzag pattern. The city is expanding the one way and the other way. The actual city boundary will help in these issues because when we see the Lahore is expanding in southern way or in maybe the southern west way. But the actual problem are the city infrastructure burden is very comprehensively manner, not dealing in a very comprehensive manner because when city is leapfrog development in a city or in Lahore or in other, or we can say in Okada, the close boundary of district Okada and district Sahiwal. So if we have the proper managed planning boundary of a district, it would be having a great deal in the
Okay,
different
okay,
planning
okay,
issues of
okay,
that
Mubashir, I
specific
got your
city.
point. I got your point. I got your point. So you're talking about urbanization and rapid boundary extensions without any
Yes,
thinking,
sir.
how critically thinking that how a boundary should be expanded. So
Exactly, sir.
in the context of our research, in context of comparative urban planning, how different cities of the world or different countries, have you thought about it? How they judge or they extend their urban boundaries, city administrative boundaries. Have you studied about them? How do they do
Yes,
it?
sir. Exactly. Sir, in Faisalabad, there is a peri-urban structure plan because the city outskirts, the boundary outskirts of district Faisalabad, they have made the plan of peri-urban structure plan. Maybe it is relevant in a specific case in Faisalabad because it is called the Manchester of Pakistan. In the very industrial area of Pakistan, they have made their peri-urban structure plan. But what about the other cities, the other cases in we can say in this, likewise in Lahore, there is no any peri-urban structure plan in Lahore, but there case to case the things varies along
Okay,
different
okay.
cities.
Thank you, Moshe. Thank you for your input, insight. Yes, I got your point, and there is a problem of urbanization, but we'll be studying about why that is a problem. So we'll be studying in the coming lectures how managed urban planning system of Lahore differs from the rest of the Punjabi cities, and then we can move on to others, and then we will discuss KPK as well. Yes, thank you. So any other one? Any other quick uh, input to your problems in your city?
Excuse
Yes, sir, Baz.
me.
Yes, sir, Baz.
Uh, but I think we are facing a very major problem in our society, in our cities. Is the one of is land use planning. It means zoning regulation or zoning wise. मतलब what what area will be located for what. That is the main reason we are facing such problems. हमें ये नहीं पता होता कि मतलब एग्रीकल्चर लैंड हमारी सीटीसी के कहाँ से कहाँ तक होती है और इंडस्ट्रियल सेक्टर्स हमारी कहाँ से कहाँ तक होती है और रोड नेटवर्क हमारी फ्यूचर में कौन सी बननी पड़ती है इन द मीन वाइज प्राइम मिनिस्टर ने अभी भी एक प्रोजेक्ट लॉन्च किया हुआ है जैसे सबको मालूम है कि मास्टर प्लानिंग हो रही है बट मास्टर प्लानिंग इन द सेंस ऑफ अदर थिंग हो रही है from the basic in कुछ मतलब we are facing is zoning regulation. We must जो हमारी city
Okay,
है या
okay.
हमारी country है
Thank,
उसको
thank.
पहले zoning wise regulate करना चाहिए था मतलब that is the main major problem we are facing.
Okay, okay, okay. Abbas Khan and Mubashir, I got your point. But the point is that you are not talking about the problem. You're talking about the solution. Like zoning is solution to the larger problem. The larger problem is mixed use development or rapid urban growth. Okay, so I'm talking about problem. Not we'll talk about like, for example, land use or zoning. Is that might hold true for America, but not for Pakistan. Okay, so we'll go into this discussion in the later session as well. So very good point. But let's stay on focus on the questions. Yes, Miss Mariam.
I'm from Islamabad, and I think the problem we're facing is transportation, transportation to be specific. We don't really have public transportation that's massive, that can be used by everyone. There's metro, of course, but the outreach of metro is still limited. So I think that's a problem that my city faces right now.
Yes, thank you. Yes, public transportation, a very vital, a very important problem. But that again goes into another discussion point of view. Some governments, for example, America, they don't prefer public transport. They prefer individual transportation networks. Whereas European or even Chinese or South Asian countries, they prefer public transportation. So the way we follow the planning laws, we are coming from, like, most of our planning laws are from the British, but we are like following new policies or theories of America. But America is predominantly, I'm not talking about New York or highly dense cities of America, US or North America, but most or less they are not working toward public transportation. So new public transportation research or systems in America are going along different lines, and we are just following them. So that might be one of the problems, that our policies are oriented towards individualistic, capitalistic tendencies. We have to make our own development plans according to American cities. So we are not following the different master plans, or just, for example, Abbas said about zoning concept and land use. That is predominantly a British concept. But now we are mixed up this zoning, land use. For example, let's go to the basics. Like urban planning was first, it's called town planning in America, in Britain, spatial planning in Germany, and in American context, it's called urban regional planning. So even the different terminologies, the different concepts, even the different philosophies of these three areas are different. Germans, they are like working towards predominantly about regional development. The British are working towards core urban renewal development, and while American, they are working towards like extension of the cities, so urban planning. So this is some different, I should say, some different philosophies behind it. But yes, public transportation is a very important problem. It's a very important issue. But does our government or does our institutions support those public transportation alternatives or not? That is the basic question. Does the institutions or the policies, do they support it? Do they support do you want a new bus on the road, or do you want one personal car? That is the question. Will you prefer to go by bus, or will you prefer your own individual car? That is the main question. Okay, thank you, Miss Maria. I got carried away, but okay. Mr. Samad Shah, yeah, you raise your hand.
Sir, I'm Syed Samad from Gilgit. Sir, when we talk about the urban issues, there are numerous urban issues when it comes to Pakistan in general. But when I talk about the problems in Gilgit in particular, so the main problem is the lack of planning legislation, which leads to different urban issues. And the changing climate is also one of the main issues in our region.
Okay, so basically, Samad, again, I think we might have some different understanding about, like, you're talking about lack of regulations. Now that again is a solution. What was the problem? What is the problem in Gilgit? I mean, why do they need lack of plan?
Sir,
why do they need planning regulations?
Sir, when it comes to the northern areas, the whole of the northern areas are, disaster prone areas. So there is changing climate is the main issue.
Okay, so okay, changing climatic changes, that's a very global phenomena that can hold true for whole of the world. But specifically, if you're talking about, I think from Gilgit is your landslide, earthquake, or maybe even floods or glacial floodings, that might be an issue. So basically, you're saying the problem is development of settlements in hazard or disaster-prone areas. So to restrict that, okay, we need some kind of planning regulations. So the main problem is development or urban development, or improper or inadequate urban development, or you can say not resilient development in the hazard prone areas. So that is the main problem, if I understand correctly. Am I right, Samad?
Yes, exactly, sir. The lack of land use planning I was talking about actually.
Okay, so okay, again, that land use planning is basically a solution towards controlling the this unresilient development, or you can say climate incompatible development. So the problem is rapid urbanization or rapid development. Okay. Yes. Yes, Miss Nida.
एक्सक्यूज मी सर, मेरा ओपिनियन ये था कि मास्टर प्लान तो बन जाते हैं, लाइक इस्लामाबाद के केस में मास्टर प्लान बना हुआ है, बट सर उसके बाद उनके ऊपर जो इम्प्लीमेंटेशन है वो नहीं होती. मतलब 50% भी सर उस तरह से इम्प्लीमेंट नहीं किया गया जैसे कि मास्टर प्लान में था. और सर मेरे ख्याल में इसमें हमारी जो मेजर रीजन है पाकिस्तान की वो ये है कि पॉवर्टी बहुत ज्यादा है और हमारे पास रेवेन्यू जनरेशन बहुत कम होती है. तो उसको फिर उस तरह से मतलब इन्वेस्ट नहीं किया जाता जिस तरह करना चाहिए। बाकी कंट्रीज में अगर हम देख लें, जो डेवलप्ड कंट्रीज है वहां पर सर ये वाले इश्यूज इतने ज्यादा नहीं है, उनकी इकोनॉमी रेट हाई है। सर दिस वाज माय पॉइंट।
Yes, yeah, like you're talking about poor governance, right? The concept of poor governance. Okay.
सर पॉवर्टी वी कैन से सर, जो मतलब गुर्बत बहुत ज्यादा है, पैसे नहीं है, रेवेन्यू जनरेशन कम है।
Okay. Revenue generation क्या है? So you're talking about taxation system.
सर रेवेन्यू जनरेशन जिस चीज से भी बनती हो, मतलब जरूरी नहीं है कि सर टैक्सेशन सिस्टम ही हो। आजकल तो सर इसी चीज पे ही फोकस किया जाता है कि टैक्स बढ़ाएं तो ही रेवेन्यू जनरेट हो। सर बाकी कंट्रीज में भी जो है वो रेवेन्यू जनरेट हो रहा है, और इस तरह से नहीं हो रहा। मतलब हर चीज को देखा जाता है, सिर्फ टैक्सेस से नहीं होता, टैक्सेस से भी होता है लेकिन इतना भी नहीं है।
Yes, Rita, I got your point. So basically, in the back end, again, हम जो बात कर रहे हैं revenue generation की, it goes back to the हम जिसमें जाए तो अगर आपने socialism capitalism पढ़ी हो, and we will revisit socialism capitalism, in which why certain tax if they are collected, how they are collected और किस पे लगेगा, किस तरह distribute होगा, resource allocation किस तरह होगी, the political science or political economy behind those systems. So basically, capitalistic saying that whoever is earning more, it's his money, and socialism said no, if he earning profit, it should be distributed among all of the nation. So that again is the core problem we'll be discussing in the coming lectures. So yes, you're right, probably you're right, the economic system, how different revenue is generated, collected or allocated, or taxation या finance system, urban finance, municipal finance एक बहुत बड़ी field है in urban planning. So you can even refer to that one. So yes, that is a very good problem. Yes, very good for highlighting. Yes, Miss Nida.
सर आई एम निदा नहीं फ्रॉम हाफिजाबाद। अब अगर स्मॉल सिटीज़ की बात की जाए तो उसमें तो लोगों को अवेयरनेस भी नहीं होती प्लानिंग की और इस तरह की चीज़ों की। उनका माइंड सेट ही नहीं होता कि वो कोई चीज़ बनाएं तो वो अप्रूवल की तरफ जाएं या इस तरह की चीज़ें। तो इवन इन जो लाहौर और इस्लामाबाद है उसमें तो सीडी और एलडी बहुत एक्टिव होते हैं कि लोगों को फिर भी नो हाउ होती है। लेकिन इन स्मॉल सिटीज़ में तो बिल्कुल भी जो है लोगों का माइंड सेट ही नहीं है कि वो इस तरह की अथॉरिटीज़ में, उनको पता भी नहीं होता कोई प्लान एग्जिस्ट कर रहा है कि नहीं, उनको अवेयरनेस ही नहीं होती। तो अवेयरनेस पे एक पॉइंट आ सकता है कि ये भी प्रॉब्लम और इशू हो सकता
है। Okay, that is one of the other issues, that how certain people are perceiving or they are reacting, or how responsive our citizens are, how responsible our citizens are. So that plays another vital role in urban planning, because public participation and how public are going to accept certain urban planning projects, or you can say accept certain urban agendas, it all depends upon the different people. So there's awareness, like for them, how okay, then I come again that okay, awareness nahi hai, then how can we like make them aware? Nida, how do you think that we can make certain people think? For example, in Islamabad, more or less everyone knows that ये घर बनाया तो उसका नक्शा पास करना है। लाहौर में भी okay, 50-60% लोगों को पता है कि हर चीज बनाने के लिए नक्शा पास होता है, but that is not true for that is not true for peri-urban areas, or maybe छोटे शहर जिसमें let's say कसूर है या आपके छोटे कस्बे हैं, दस्का है, या इस तरह छोटे छोटे शहर हैं। लेकिन अब प्रॉब्लम ये आती है, हमको क्यों नहीं पता मे बी कि उनके छोटे शहरों में कोई अथॉरिटी नहीं है, या कोई प्लानर या इंस्टीट्यूशंस ऐसे स्ट्रांग नहीं है जो उनको फॉलो अप करके उनको नक्शे बनाने पे मजबूर करे, या उनका सिस्टम इस तरह का डेवलप नहीं हुआ कि लोगों को पता ही नहीं है कि वहाँ नक्शे किस तरह बनाने हैं। फॉर एग्जाम्पल, इस्लामाबाद में सबको पता है कि डेवलपमेंट से पहले नक्शा पास होगा। लाहौर में भी अगर कोई प्राइवेट स्कीम में लेगा, सबको पता है कि नक्शा पहले पास होगा। लेकिन क्योंकि मे बी एलडीए सीडीए की इंस्टीट्यूशन स्ट्रांग है, उन्होंने अपना एक मैकेनिज्म बना छोड़ा हुआ है, लोगों को पब्लिक को पता है कि ये होगा नहीं तो हमारी ये सीडीए या एलडीए आके हमारी बिल्डिंग डिमोलिश कर सकती है। ओके, बट रूरल एरियाज में
सर इवन जो अगर हम इस्लामाबाद की बात करें,
यस
अगर हम इस्लामाबाद की बात करें तो सीडीए वालों ने तो मतलब सब्जेक्ट टू कंडीशन कर देते हैं कि अगर अप्रूवल नहीं है तो बिजली गैस कुछ भी नहीं उनके लोगों का लगेगा। तो लोग मजबूर होते हैं कि वो प्लान अप्रूव कराएंगे, और छोटी सिटीज में तो कोई इस तरह का मैकेनिज्म ही नहीं होता, लोगों को पता है उनके बिजली घर सब कुछ लग जाएगा।
यही मैं आपको बताना चाह रहा हूँ, द पॉलिसीज इंस्टीट्यूशन के जो मैकेनिज्म्स हैं वो बहुत स्ट्रांग है सीडीए के, दैट वो लोगों को मजबूर कर देते हैं फॉर एग्जांपल नक्शा पास करवाने के लिए।
एग्री। और डिस्ट्रिक्ट और जितनी भी म्यूनिसिपल कमेटीज में तो प्लानर भी एक एक कोई बैठा है, तो वो बेचारा कौन कौन सी चीज़ों को देखेगा, तो वो इन चीज़ों की तरफ फिर जाते ही नहीं है।
दैट डेफिनेटली ये मैं आपको कह रहा हूँ। फॉर एग्जांपल रूरल एरियाज में इंस्टीट्यूशंस के पास इतनी पावर ही नहीं होगी कि वो जाके कोई बिल्डिंग डिमोलिश कर सके, उनके पास मशीनरी नहीं होगी। एलडीए के पास मशीनरी है, वो जाके बिल्डिंग्स डिमोलिश करती है, तो लोगों को पता चल जाता है कि यार इससे नक्शा नहीं पास करवाया था, देन दे हैव टू डू, इस वजह से उनकी बिल्डिंग गिरी है। रूरल एरियाज में इस तरह का सेटअप ही है। ओके, यस, दैट इज वेरी गुड पॉइंट। यस, शुएब राना शुएब।
अस्सलाम वालेकुम सर, माय नेम इज़ शुएब एंड आई एम फ्रॉम डिस्ट्रिक्ट लोधरा। और अगर हम इश्यूज़ की बात करें तो सर पाकिस्तान के कॉन्टेक्स्ट में हम अगर सिटीज़ की बात करते हैं तो मोस्ट ऑफ देम आर बिल्ट अप एरियाज़। तो अभी बिल्ट अप एरियाज़ हैं तो उनके इश्यूज़ क्योंकि प्लान्ड एरिया से थोड़े से डिफर हैं। तो अगर हम देखें तो हमें जो अगर कैटेगराइज करें तो ट्रैफिक कंजेशन सबसे पहले हमें लगता है कि एक बड़ा इशू है। इसके अलावा सैनिटेशन की प्रॉब्लम हमारे सिटीज़ में देख लें और बाकी जो फर्स्ट वर्ल्ड कंट्रीज़ हैं वहाँ पे जाएं। तो इसके अलावा लैक ऑफ ओपन स्पेसिस इन स्मॉल सिटीज़ और पब्लिक ट्रांसपोर्टेशन ऑलरेडी जो डिस्कस हो चुका है। इसके अलावा सर मैं एक और ऐड ऑन करना चाहूँगा, मिस निदा ने भी एक बात की कि वी आर हैविंग सम डिस्क्रिमिनेशन विद स्मॉल सिटीज़। और देखा जाए तो हम स्मॉल सिटीज़ डेवलपमेंट प्लान बिल्कुल भी नहीं है और अनफॉर्चुनेटली और उन्होंने ही कल को जाके बड़े शहर बनना है। तो हमारी गवर्नमेंट का भी एक अलमिया यही है कि एक जो इशू बहुत ज़्यादा हाईलाइट हो गया है, ये बड़ा शहर है, तो उसको हम क्या कह रहे हैं वो कर रहे हैं, फोकस कर रहे हैं और उसको एड्रेस भी कर रहे हैं। जैसे कि अगर कोई इशू लाहौर में है या इस्लामाबाद में है वो इशू एड्रेस हो जाता है, लेकिन अगर सिमिलरली जैसे आपने कहा कि कोई इशू डस्का में है या कोई स्मॉल तहसील में है या छोटे लेवल पे है, वो डिस्कस नहीं किया जा रहा। तो आई थिंक कि वी शुड प्रेफर स्मॉल सिटीज डेवलपमेंट प्लान, ताकि जो रूट है वहीं से बेसिकली कल को उन्होंने आज से 30 साल या 20 साल बाद जाके उन्होंने भी बड़ा होना है, तो फिर हमारी गवर्नमेंट सोच रही होगी। तो आई थिंक ये कुछ जो कॉमन इश्यूज हैं जो हमारे बिल्टअप एरियाज और स्मॉल सिटीज में हैं और इसी तरह बड़े शहरों में भी हैं।
गॉट योर पॉइंट। तो अभी आपने मेंशन किया है कि फर्स्ट वर्ल्ड सेकंड वर्ल्ड की बात ना, तो दैट इज नाउ वेरी इट्स कंसिडर्ड a negative word. Okay, so for every planners or whatever आपकी जो भी profession है, whatever you will be doing it, because you will be becoming a professional urban planner. So now the terminologies of Umar, can you see the slide, right?
Yes sir, clear.
Okay, so जो terminology है ना, first world, second world, third world countries, now that is absolute. अगर आप ये use करेंगे ना कि first world country हूँ मैं, second year, third world country है, that is very negative. Now this terminology is no more being used. हम कई बार developing and developed का भी word use करते हैं. This terminology is also getting absolute. लोग use कर रहे हैं, but it's still frowned upon. So now the word commonly used are low income countries, middle income countries, and high income countries. So next time when you are talking about, like, this is even this, agar let's say Americans are saying that Pakistan is a third world countries and Britishers are saying Pakistan is a developing countries, is दोनों में बहुत different connotation है, different meanings है, different philosophies है. So let's try to be more neutral, more you can say politically correct. So these are the terms I would prefer you use this terminology. Okay, and for this is just for information. I'm not criticizing you. You just raised this point, so it came to my mind.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Yes. Anyone? Any other one? Yeah. So most probably these are the planners who are just speaking about their problems. So I would ask anyone else, architects even or engineers in the group chat, what do you think are the problems in your opinion? As a general citizen, you think that this is a problem in your country, in your area?
Sir, I'm in Kasur, and yes. I think the major problem here in Kasur is the increasing migrations from rural to urban. Sir, there are around more than 500 villages in Kasur district boundary, and the area of the square feet area of the city is very, very small. It's about 3 kilometers radius. तो सर जिस तरह माइग्रेशन ज़्यादा हो रही है तो सिटी के अंदर पास कैपेसिटी नहीं है उसको सपोर्ट करने की।
अच्छा,
तो इससे काफी इश्यूज हैं।
ओके उमर, सो अगेन आपकी प्रॉब्लम समझ रहा हूँ, माइग्रेशन इज अ सोल्यूशन। अब मुझे से बताएं कि माइग्रेशन क्यों हो रही है, आपके ख्याल में माइग्रेशन लोग क्यों कर रहे हैं?
Sir, uncontrolled migration is the problem.
नो देखो, अनकंट्रोल्ड माइग्रेशन को किसी को लिमिट नहीं कर सकते। आप हम इंडिपेंडेंट कंट्री है, डेमोक्रेटिक कंट्री है, हम किसी को रोक नहीं सकते अगर वो इस एरिया से उस एरिया में सेटल होना चाहे। मेरा पॉइंट है कि वो जो माइग्रेट क्यों हो रहे हैं, बेशक कंट्रोल्ड माइग्रेशन हो रही है या अनकंट्रोल्ड माइग्रेशन हो रही है, माइग्रेशन क्यों हो रही है, ये मेरा सवाल है।
Sir, due to opportunities, business opportunity and employment.
Yes, that is the point. कि लोग या तो जहां वो रह रहे हैं उधर इकोनॉमिक अपॉर्चुनिटीज नहीं है, फॉर मेकिंग देयर स्टैंडर्ड ऑफ लाइफ बेटर दे आर माइग्रेटिंग टू सम बेटर और बिगर सिटीज, मे बी दैट इज द रीजन। सो पॉइंट आ जाता है मे बी स्टैंडर्ड ऑफ द लिविंग और लैक ऑफ इकोनॉमिक अपॉर्चुनिटीज। इसका क्या मतलब है कि कसूर में फॉर एग्जांपल देश, हमें क्या होगा, मे बी देयर इज अ लैक ऑफ इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन इन देयर, मे बी दे आर नॉट गुड हॉस्पिटल्स इन कसूर, मे बी देयर इज नॉट गुड education facilities over there. So that is the main issue behind it. We just look into these problems like on the face value. Let's go behind the reasons even. So after the main reason, then we can design a better policy. Instead of like controlling the migration or restricting the people, we should think about why those people are migrating. For example, in Islamabad, you're going to F10, right? Why are you going to F10? That there are certain facilities in F10, there's certain restaurants in F10, certain amenities in F10 that is not available in H or G, let's say G11. Okay, so instead of like restricting people to do not go to F10, we should provide the same facilities in G11. So people, instead of moving towards such a longer distances, commuting or adding to the traffic load, they should just move on to G11 and then they can have those amenities at the nearest point to their own home. So that is how we find a solution, instead of just like imposing certain regulations or laws or restrictions. Don't do this, don't construct above 3-story building. Instead of like giving them options that okay, these are the options, avail some of them, instead of just no, you cannot do this. This is how planning system in Pakistan are working. Instead of improvising, or you can say making some spaces for them, we are very rigid. Our planning law, or at least if not planning law, the urban planners are very rigid in following the policies or the regulation. For example, oh yeah, they're saying that you cannot construct this kind of facility over here. So whatever you do, you say no, we cannot allow it. So master planning is becoming a very rigid tool. Zoning and land use are more or less they are become political tools. For example, in master plan says you cannot have a construction toward eastern side of Lahore because of the Indian border. But what happens? Because of political pressures, DHA does not fall under any LDA. It does not fall under your provincial government. It is their own entity, and they don't need any approval. So they can violate the master plan easily because the master plan does not bind them to construct their own housing scheme in certain area. So this is what is happening in Pakistan. You got my point, Umar? If anyone has any comment or suggestion. So ये issues होते हैं. Okay, so okay, any other one question and then we can return to the presentation. No? Okay, let's go back to the presentation. Okay, now what happens in the world is that different similar cities in America, for example, they have given power to the mayors or their own city representatives that they can constitute or customize the planning law according to their own needs. But in Pakistan, the same law is applicable. For example, the building regulations in Lahore are more or less same throughout all over Punjab. Maybe some little variations in other major cities like Multan or Rawalpindi, but more or less whatever rules and regulations are being applied in Lahore. For example, एक कनाल में कितना जगह छोड़नी होती है anyone? एक कनाल के अगर आप मुझे बताएं setbacks, architects especially, architects, anyone? Okay, मुबशर आप बताएं फिर.
सर नहीं तो सर एक कनाल में 15 फीट जो फ्रंट पे छोड़ते हैं, 10 फीट बैक पे छोड़ते हैं और 5 फीट साइड्स पे छोड़ते हैं सर. ये सेटबैक्स हैं इनके सर, एक कनाल के।
ठीक है, रिजवान, you want to say something?
नहीं बस ठीक है, एग्जैक्टली यही था। ठीक।
Okay, so what happens is that अगर आप देखें ये जो लॉ है लाहौर वाला एक कनाल पलट से, दिस इज ट्रू फॉर ऑल ओवर। वन कनाल का आपने पूरे पंजाब में कहीं भी घर बनाना है, ये सेम रेगुलेशंस लगेंगे। ओके, ठीक है। व्हाट अबाउट कमर्शियल प्लाजास, पार्किंग स्पेसेस? जो लाहौर के पार्किंग स्पेसेस के प्लाजास के कमर्शियल के रूल है कि 1 कार पर 1000 स्क्वायर फीट ऑफ कवर्ड एरिया नीड्स 1 कार। Should the same parking requirement be applicable to, let's say, Sialkot? Should it be able to, for example, Rahim Mir Khan? उसमें भी यही रूल लगेगा? That is what is. Yes, Ms. Nidar.
नहीं सर, उन पे तो अलग अलग रूल्स होंगे, और वैसे भी ये इस बड़ी सिटीज में 1 कार पर 1000 स्क्वायर फीट है, लेकिन छोटी सिटीज में तो कहीं 1200 है, कहीं 1500 पर स्क्वायर फीट है पे एक कार की स्पेस है।
Okay, that exactly. अब क्या है, ये कस्टमाइज्ड रूल्स हैं। लेट्स से मैंने लाहौर में हमारे पास रूल है 1000 का, और इतने शहर की इस पॉपुलेशन के लिए इतने रूल्स के, ये क्राइटेरिया या स्टैंडर्ड है फॉर दिस वन। नाउ अब आपके शहर, लाहौर जैसे शहर तो कोई भी नहीं है, चले लेट्स से पंजाब में कोई ऐसा नहीं है जिसकी डायनामिक्स उससे मिलती हो, लेकिन अगर छोटे शहरों को भी हमने एक स्टैंडर्ड में मुकर्रर कर दिया है कि दिस इज द ऑप्टिमम स्टैंडर्ड for these settlements. So instead of customizing according to the needs of their own cities, these laws are very stringent. That is my point. So उसको customize करने के लिए may be हमारी hierarchy breakup हो जाए। Let's talk about like planning regulations. Okay, we'll go into in later details how different regulations vary within different cities. So we'll have a whole lecture on that. So coming back, there are a variety of procedures and policy content for urban planning. Now it depends upon different people about let's say different urban planners, that they will modify the contents according to their own needs. Should we follow American standards, or should we follow European standard, or wouldn't it be more feasible to follow Indian standards, which are more near to us in social and cultural acceptability? But depends upon the planners or the policy makers or the decision maker which style or development pattern they want to follow. So there are a lot of procedures and policies available for tackling different problems. For example, zoning or land use planning is not the only solution to manage your urban growth. There are different options available, but that is the only option being taught to us. That might, or you can say to some extent, might not hold true for Pakistan or Pakistani cities. Okay. Then the point comes that why do we want to compare? Okay, more or less you have seen some studies are there which compare cities within themselves. For example, there are studies, they are comparing Lahore, Rawalpindi and Faisalabad. They are comparing those cities. Okay, that is good. For example, I'm talking about it would be it's not be feasible to relate. I think I made some graph, maybe. Okay, it will come later. Okay, the point is that why do we compare within the local context? Because more or less same policies are existing within the same cities. जो लाहौर, कसूर, कराची, for example, पंजाब में, let's talk about Punjab cities, certain cities with certain population limits, हम उनको compare कर सकते हैं, क्योंकि more or less उनकी provincial government laws, back end पे national laws, provincial laws same हैं, cultural, social acceptability are same. Rather than comparing Lahore with New York, it is more feasible to compare Lahore with Faisalabad, because they are very near to each other in socially, culturally, economically than Lahore and New York. So more of this, अब क्या कहते हैं, हम कहते हैं जी let's say हम कहते हैं चलो पेशावर को लाहौर से कंपेयर कर देते हैं, दोनों प्रोविंशियल कैपिटल है, इन दोनों में हम कंपेयर करके हम ये कहेंगे कि पेशावर में कौन सी पॉलिसी कामयाब हुई है जो पाकिस्तान में नहीं हुई, जो सॉरी लाहौर में नहीं हुई। फॉर एग्जाम्पल तब हमें पता चलेगा कि कौन सी पॉलिसी कौन से कॉन्टेक्स्ट में बेहतर परफॉर्म करती है। फॉर एग्जांपल दोनों में एक ही पॉलिसी लॉन्च की है गवर्नमेंट ने पब्लिक ट्रांसपोर्टेशन के ऊपर, दोनों ने, लेकिन व्हाट हैपेंड दैट वो पॉलिसी लाहौर में ज्यादा कामयाब हो गई है, पेशावर में कम हुई है, राइट? सो सिमिलरली इस तरह कंपैरिजन करने से हमें प्रोज एंड कॉन्स पता चल जाते हैं विद इन सर्टेन केस स्टडीज। सो केस स्टडी कंपैरिजन विद इन अ सिटी इज much more feasible than comparing your own cities with the standards of New York, America, Canadian cities. उससे कंपेयर करना इज मीनिंगलेस। हम जब भी कंपेयर करते हैं हम कहते हैं लंदन में अराउंड 2000 अर्बन प्लानर्स हैं, लाहौर में सिर्फ 20-30 हैं। दैट इज नॉट अ feasible comparison. That is because that is economically they are very different, socially they are very different, culturally they are very different. तो हम उनको कंपैरिजन करने से अगर हम कहें कि जी लंदन में क्योंकि 2000 प्लानर्स हैं, लाहौर में भी अगर हम 2000 अर्बन प्लानर्स कर लेंगे तो लाहौर भी लंदन जैसा हो जाएगा। दैट इज नॉट ट्रू। दैट इज नॉट लाइक we cannot blindly follow the policies of the British. फॉर एग्जांपल हम पाकिस्तान में बात करते हैं, आई वुड लाइक अर्बन प्लानर, हम जो लैंड एक्विजिशन एक्ट करते हैं पाकिस्तान में इस्तेमाल, वो कौन सी ईयर का? एनीवन? लैंड एक्विजिशन एक्ट
1980s का है कोई something?
1890.
Yes, Rana Shoaib, you were close.
I think 1894, sir.
Yes.
1894.
1894. So we are following a law of 1894, 1894. वो लॉ इस्तेमाल कर रहे हैं आज भी पाकिस्तान में। So do you think we should like now isn't it high time to like customize those laws or update those laws? So I mean you're amazed that if you're looking at different laws of Pakistan, पुराने laws, पटवारी एक्ट देखें या दो देखें, वो बहुत 19th century के या 20th century के हम यूज कर रहे हैं, बहुत पुराने हम laws अभी भी यूज कर रहे हैं। Coming back to the topic about this. Okay. So what happens? Excuse me. Okay. So what happened in most of the researches, we cannot compare certain cities, certain developing and developing countries because कोई चीज constant नहीं है उसमें कोई चीज जब constant हो या उसके जो indicators या measurement के units same हो तो तब जाके हम कंपेयर कर सकते हैं दो चीजों को। इसी तरह जब दोनों की एडमिनिस्ट्रेशंस डिफरेंट होंगी, दोनों की लॉज रेगुलेशंस डिफरेंट होंगी, तो हम उन दोनों को कंपेयर नहीं कर सकते। बट लेट्स से हमारी एक प्रॉब्लम है, फॉर एग्जांपल क्लाइमेट चेंज के इम्पैक्ट्स। अब ये जो प्रॉब्लम है, जो क्लाइमेट चेंज के इम्पैक्ट्स फॉर एग्जांपल लंदन में आ रहे हैं, वो पाकिस्तान में भी आ रहे होंगे। फॉर एग्जांपल यूके में जो आ रहे हैं पाकिस्तान में भी आ रहे हैं। फॉर एग्जांपल एक्सट्रीम फ्लडिंग इवेंट्स, वो पाकिस्तान में भी आ रहे हैं, वो उधर भी आ रहे हैं। सो सर्टेन प्रॉब्लम्स का पॉइंट ऑफ रेफरेंस सेम हो सकता है। अर्बनाइजेशन पाकिस्तान और इंडिया की कंपेयर कर सकते हैं, दोनों के नेचर ऑफ अर्बनाइजेशन इज मोर और लेस सेम, ओके, बट वी कैन नॉट लाइक compare the urbanization of Pakistan, of any city of Pakistan with an European city. हाँ, अब प्रॉब्लम डिफर करती है। प्रॉब्लम क्लाइमेट चेंज की आ गई तो क्लाइमेट चेंज इज सर्टेन, ऐसा ही एक्सपेक्ट है जो अब ग्लोबली आप किसी भी सिटी पे अप्लाई कर सकते हैं, ठीक है? तो हमारी प्रॉब्लम या कॉन्टेक्स्ट मैटर्स अ लॉट। So depending on the problem, we can compare certain things and we cannot compare certain things. Most of the time, all of the case studies or comparative studies are within one context. एक ही प्रॉब्लम और एक ही एरिया के अंदर होती है। मोर अगर आप रिसर्च पढ़ें आपको आइडिया होगा कि मोर और लेस all the research, comparative research basically is within one context or within one spatial area limitation in the you can say boundary of one area. Then we talk about there are some different cities, like livable cities, based on certain indicators that which are the best cities to live in. So Vienna has been coming on the top 3 for the last 10-15 years. They are on the top. So what makes Vienna better than New York? What makes let's say, I'll not compare Pakistan, okay, not developing countries. Let's talk about the high income countries. Like Los Angeles is a beautiful place, right? Paris is a very beautiful place. Why people have not written Paris? Okay, why it didn't get high score? Okay. Let's talk about like even the similar European countries, Scandinavian countries, for example, are considered that they are very much livable. But you can see only two top cities in Scandinavian countries. Or only one basically, Copenhagen. Vienna, Austria is basically a Central European country. So in Scandinavian countries, only Copenhagen. But we have heard no, Helsinki is good, Oslo is good. This different cities of Belgium, Denmark, Netherlands, they are very good, but they have not scored top of them. So this tells that within certain area and certain indicators, if we go into detail of livable cities, then you can know what are the scores of each. For example, Vienna scored here around 99.7 score out of 100 because of safety and security. Okay. Now, in Pakistan, we don't compare, but usually in the developed countries or high-income countries, people consider like they are going to settle down or retire in which city. So they usually browse through these livable cities in the world. Which place is very easy to settle down, or will provide better standard of life. So this is some comparative analysis of within countries. So if you note, generally, it has been noted that in the top 100, most of the cities which are medium-sized, which populations are not metropolitan, they are small size, medium-sized cities score the best. None of these cities are, except maybe Tokyo, is a mega city. All of them have very small population sizes. Yes, I think Ms. Nida, you have any question?
No, sir.
Okay, Mr. Arham, your question?
Alaikum, sir. Sir, I
Welcome.
want to ask why we do not update our rules.
Why don't we? Okay, that is a good question. Firstly, I think lack of, I would say, okay, it is my humble opinion. I might be wrong. Okay, that is, it is according to my thinking, I might be wrong again. Some people might differ from my opinion. So in my opinion, it's like one is the political commitment, lack of political commitment or leadership or taking initiatives. Secondly, in my opinion, we are not so much, our urban planners, I should say, or the technocrats, they don't have the technical capabilities. I mean, for example, urban planning profession has recently, in the last 10 years, it has surged as a profession in Pakistan. Before that, no one considered urban planning as a profession. In the last 10 or 20 years, urban planning profession has developed in Pakistan. So the people who are getting educated today, they will go in the field, maybe in then 15 years, then after 20 years, they'll be up to a decision-making position, and then they can modify or update the laws or regulation. Thirdly is, again, I was talking about political leadership and initiatives that if we develop laws clearly or update the laws, the room for corruption, the room for you can say political pressure, that will be reduced. For example, if there is no master plan, then political powers or economic powers, they can do their own development according to their own will. That is one of the reasons why urban planning professions are not updated, because the people of power will lose their interest to technocrats, to technical people, basically. Yes, sir. I hope this question answers your question.
Yes, sir, I got it.
Yes, anyone else? Any other question? Do you want to take a break or let's continue? Okay. Okay. I've talked about different cities, different countries, about middle income, high income countries. So what about these city Excuse me, Rizwan, you're disturbing me again and again. Do you have any question? Mr. Rizwan Ahmed.
Sorry, sir.
Okay,
Sorry, sir.
so yes, you have. Okay. Yes, so coming back to the topic, so categorizing cities and regions. So we have talked about different countries in which they can categorize as developing, third, middle income, high income. But what about different cities? Why some cities are wealthy? Why some cities are poor? Why some cities follow capitalistic style and why socialistic? Now, these two things, capitalism and socialism, I hope some of you might be aware of those terms, or some of you might have gone through it or heard about it, or some of you might even have more grip than me on these topics. So capitalistic and socialism, they are two different political systems which are influencing urban planning a whole. In short, capitalism is working towards individualistic interest and socialism in working towards the greater public good. Okay, so it all depends upon you that do you prefer that to go for individual interest or do you want to go for public interest? Okay, the word interest is okay. I should say it's a negative connotation. I should change it. I would say an individual which are working and which has earned through competition. Should all the profit be rest with the individual or should it be distributed among the poorer? You can say get marginalized communities as well. Okay, so we'll have a whole different lecture on this socialism, capitalism and urban planning in the next lecture. So Rana Shoaib, you had any question?
Yes sir, बस यही रिक्वेस्ट करनी थी कि थोड़ा सा इनको एक्सप्लेन कर लें, लेकिन आपने बताया कि नेक्स्ट लेक्चर में ये होगा, तो आई थिंक चीज क्लियर हो जाएगी. थैंक यू सो मच.
Okay, then is how do you categorize different regions? Economic regions हो सकते हैं आपके
Sir, I
social.
have a question.
Yes, Ms. Mariam.
Are welfare societies also a part of socialist societies?
Okay, very good question. Very good question. Basically, what happened that those welfare countries were once capitalistic, and when they have seen that capitalism are increasing their inequalities or disparities in their cities or in their country, then they opted for high taxation and giving social benefits to the poor, and then they move from capitalistic towards socialistic. But you cannot say them they are socialist or you cannot say them they are capitalistic. So they are in between. Like for Scandinavian countries, their economy is purely capitalistic in nature, competition, industrialization, innovation, but the social benefits or the profits are being distributed among, for example, health benefits, free education. Those are socialistic tendencies. So you cannot openly say that certain countries are socialist or certain are capitalistic. So you cannot, like for example, in Pakistan, if I talk about that, this construction, this industrialization, that is capitalism. But this income support, Benazir income support program, that is a socialistic policy. So a country mostly has a mix of capitalism and socialistic countries, and generally one of them outweigh the other. So in welfare nation, it depends upon which country you're talking about. Yes, Harun. Yes, Harun, you have question?
अस्सलाम वालेकुम सर. सर ये कम्युनिज्म और सोशलिज्म एक ही है सर या ये डिफरेंट है?
Okay, communism is जो अमेरिकन्स कहते हैं कि किसी चीज को नेगेटिव पोर्ट्रे करने के लिए वो सोशलिज्म को कम्युनिज्म का नाम देते हैं. सो सोशलिज्म इज अ पॉजिटिव टर्म, कम्युनिज्म इज अ नेगेटिव टर्म. सो लेकिन बैक एंड पे दोनों की फिलॉसफी सेम है, लेकिन कम्युनिज्म इज बेसिकली सोशलिज्म इन प्रैक्टिस. यस. So we'll go into the socialism, capitalism. ये बहुत ही एक let's say interesting lecture होगा. So I would like everybody should be present for that lecture. वो बहुत interesting lecture है. How socialism and capitalism influence your planning systems. So next lecture, I think it's focused on capitalism and socialism. Okay, coming back, then it depends on how we categorize different cities. For example, in the previous regulations, Pakistan in Punjab local government ordinance, Lahore was given status of metropolitan, and rest of all of the cities were given an urban status. तो जब हम एक सिटी को प्रायोरिटाइज कर देते हैं बाकियों के ऊपर, तो आप इनइक्वालिटी ऑटोमेटिकली क्रिएट कर देते हैं. सो हम सिटीज को किस तरह कैटेगराइज करते हैं, इट आल्सो हैव अ सिग्निफिकेंट इन्फ्लुएंस ऑन देयर प्लानिंग सिस्टम्स. Okay, coming back, why do we need comparative urban planning? So urban planning के principles like beauty, convenience, happiness, these are some of the aims and objective of urban planning. शहर को किस तरह देखना चाहते हैं? Beautiful, maybe environmental friendly, convenient हर एक के लिए हो, safe हो, secure हो. These are some of the these are some principles or urban planning principles behind the profession. So हम उसको क्यों revisit करना चाहते हैं? क्योंकि now in the era of globalization, economic activities are mostly concentrated in urban areas. जब आप urban areas में economic activity सबसे ज़्यादा होंगी, वहाँ सबसे ज़्यादा political strongholds होंगे, political powers के जिसको कहेंगे गढ़ होंगे. Okay, so those strongholds, they play a very vital role in influencing your urban planning systems. हम पाकिस्तान में अक्सर अगर आप किसी practicing planner से पूछें, how as a government employee, how much are they influenced by the political system or political powers in their own region? तो वो क्या बताएंगे? Anyone, any planner who is a government over here, government person, especially from local government, if anyone is here. Mr. Khurram, anyone, any planner? Or okay, if any planner has any feedback, any person who is working in a government organization. Okay, so अगर किसी आप गवर्नमेंट ऑफिशियल से पूछें कि आपकी जॉब में पॉलिटिकल हर्डल्स कितने ज्यादा हैं, how much your politics or MNAs, MPs are influencing your decision making, they can tell you that many of the decisions in the government, in the current systems are politicized. Okay, for example, let me tell you, when I was in LDA, Lahore Development Authority, I was working as an urban planner, government officer. So what happened that when certain political party came into power, it started demolishing the buildings, you can say unapproved buildings of previous political party. Let's say I will not name the political parties. This is being recorded. If you were live, then it would have been different. So what happened is that party A came to power, and then it started demolishing the unapproved building of political party B. After 5 years, political party B came to power, and then they started demolishing the buildings of party A. So what? So political parties are playing a very vital role in influencing your technocratic decision. For example, master plan में सबसे ज़्यादा रोल किसका होना चाहिए? Planners, engineers, architects, these people should be there. But what happened? कौन होता है? आपका minister of flag, उस चीज का minister बैठा होगा, flag party का minister बैठा होगा, political parties बैठी होंगी. They are influencing your master planning. So आपकी जो main essence होता है वो खत्म हो जाता है. The main problems the main problem starts from political parties or political economic system behind those systems. So coming back, अब हम फॉर एग्जांपल दो सिटीज को जब हम कंपेयर कर रहे हैं, एक प्रॉब्लम एक सिटी ने उसी लॉज या रेगुलेशंस के मुताबिक एक प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व कर लिया है और एक ने नहीं की. एक ही पॉलिसी कामयाब होगी, एक ही पॉलिसी कामयाब नहीं हुई. सेम पॉलिसी थी, दो एरियाज में लगाई, एक में कामयाब हुई. ओके, आई वुड नॉट से प्योरली सक्सेसफुल, आई वुड से पार्शली सक्सेसफुल इन सिटी ए बट नॉट एट ऑल सक्सेसफुल इन सिटी बी. अब क्या होगा कि हमें आइडिया हो जाएगा कि सिटी ए में वो क्या कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स थे which made it partially successful and which made it failure in city B. That is the main problem. That is how we identify the factors influencing success or failure of certain policy programs or urban planning programs in a city. जब हमें पता चल जाएंगे कि ये अगर करेक्टरिस्टिक इस सिटी में एग्जिस्ट कर रहा हो तो उसके लिए पॉलिसी का पॉजिटिव इंपैक्ट आएगा, या ये करेक्टरिस्टिक एग्जिस्ट कर रहा होगा एक सिटी में तो ये पॉलिसी उधर कामयाब नहीं होगी। इसलिए हम कंपेयर करते हैं दो डिफरेंट चीजों को। अब फॉर एग्जांपल हम दो सिटीज लेते हैं, फॉर एग्जांपल लाहौर, ये लेट्स से कंपेयर करते हैं फैसलाबाद और सियालकोट, और दोनों में हम चले बात करते हैं इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन की। जब इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन, दोनों शहर जो इंडस्ट्रियल सिटीज ऑटोमेटिकली उन दोनों को कंपेयर कर रहे हैं, और हमने एक ही पॉलिसी प्रोग्राम चलाया दोनों में, वो सियालकोट में सक्सेसफुल हो गया, फैसलाबाद में रह गया। तो देन वी कैन फाइंड आउट अ कॉमन ग्राउंड कि क्या वजह थी कि सियालकोट में इंडस्ट्रियल पॉलिसी कामयाब हुई है, फैसलाबाद में फेल हो गई है। So this is how we are like comparing those cities to find success and failure factors of urban programs. तो ये चीजें सिर्फ पाकिस्तान की दो सिटीज में तो कामयाब हो सकती हैं, बट इफ यू स्टार्ट कंपेयरिंग सियालकोट विद द, फॉर एग्जांपल फैसलाबाद, द मैनचेस्टर ऑफ पाकिस्तान विद द रियल मैनचेस्टर ऑफ यूके, वो उनकी पॉलिसीज हम मैनचेस्टर की यहाँ लेके आएंगे तो वो फेल हो जाएंगी मोस्ट प्रोबेबली। सो वो आपने वर्ड सुना होगा, think globally, act locally. So that is the main essence behind this. Urban planning is increasingly becoming a very good research discipline. हम research करके we try to find out why certain cities are successful in controlling. अब हम कोविड की चले बात करते हैं, why America or urban areas or cities of America have to some extent failed in containing the COVID virus. Okay, and why Singapore or why South Korea has successfully managed, or you can say reduced the risk of COVID. So अब क्या है, अब now we can say that we are going to do research why South Korea has been successful and why US have failed, although it has more economic power, more resources than South Korea. So you can have a research why certain cities have been successful in controlling virus. For example, even if we talk about America, New York may start the COVID crisis, like it escalated too quickly, but now New York, the city administration of New York has controlled the coronavirus, whereas the rest of the cities like Florida and Los Angeles, they're still struggling a lot. So even within the same country, same context, why certain city administration have been successful while others have not? That is a research phenomena that we can do a research on. We can find differences, variations, and issues among those. Yes, Ahmed Arif, you have a question?
Sir, I just want to add on your that South Korea thing, that sir, basically South Korea learned from the previous SARS experience that was the virus in 2015 or 16. So they established well their SOPs, and they made their system a bit more better in that terms. So that was the reason they were well prepared and was able to cope with the COVID-19 better than the other countries. So their previous experience, the Asian countries were hit very hard in the SARS virus that came before COVID. So they were comparatively well prepared for the new virus like COVID-19. So I've seen some reports from the South Korea, and their SOPs were, I mean, world class. I mean, even United States and Japan, and other European countries were no match for the SOPs the South Koreans developed. So I just wanted to add, sir, this thing. You asked why South Korea and United States, their things are so different in the COVID.
Okay, Abidal, then I can ask you why. Then what about Pakistani and Indian case? We had no experience with SARS, but we are more or less
Yes, sir. SARS was more prominent in Asian countries like China, Japan, South Korea, Singapore, but it was not that present in Pakistan, India, and Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, in South Asian countries. The other factor is, sir, population, sir. Indian population is 1.3 billion, sir. So huge population, and sir, it is difficult to control a outbreak of virus. Although, sir, their SOPs were better than Pakistan. Even when Pakistanis were not planning and preparing for the COVID, Indians were already planning and preparing. They even developed the SOPs. I remember during the PSL, sir, Indians were already on lockdown, sir. Pakistanis were a bit late, sir, in that term, but still, I mean, I think, sir, due to population factor and
Okay, I got your point.
yeah.
I got your point. I got your point. Okay, so basically, if you start, there is an index called Urban Resilience Checklist prepared by the United Nations Disaster Reduction Committee. If we try to find out some different areas in checklist in which Pakistan has performed better than India. Okay, then India as a whole country is different. Okay, let's talk about like New Delhi and Lahore. Like they have similar characteristics and different urban city. So, okay, I'm not commenting on that. I don't need to discussion. So just a thought, food for thought, that why they have been successful and why they have not. So for that, rather than doing some debate or discussion, qualitative analysis, UN have developed a checklist how much certain cities are prepared against future pandemics. So that how different city administrations or urban planning professions or urbanization, you can say urban planners are prepared to control this COVID situation in different cities. So what happened that if you have the data behind it, then I can certainly pinpoint that these are the factors, these are the critical, or you can say indicators, those that made it successful in Pakistan and a failure in India. So making a relevant scale, measurement unit, and the subject to the data and its reliability, we can easily find out which are the probable factors which have made certain things success or a failure. So that is what is the comparative research is. So comparing two things, we are going to, like you've heard about this phrase, comparing apples and oranges. What does it mean, comparing apples and oranges? Anyone?
They're very different.
Yes, that means that they are different and that they cannot be compared. Okay, so certain things which cannot be compared, we cannot, there is no point in comparing those. But there are certain things that we can compare. Okay, so that is what is comparative research is. That even if the research discipline, urban planning as a research discipline is available, there are different administrative practices which are being used in the world to make cities better, but it depends upon which type of practice is better for your city. So urban planning is a discipline which is very dynamic. It can very quickly customize according to the local social, political, and cultural conditions of the city. So urban planning or the planning of the city depends upon different factors, and it can adapt basically according to the local context. For example, let's say we are talking about this one. If the same policy is being implemented in city A and city B, but what happened that although the same policy is existing, same people, same issues, but one is successful, one is a failure. So what happened that all this is customized according to the how institutions are perceiving it. For example, let's say what should I give an example? Okay, so there is a policy that that leaves the decision up to the urban planners. That should this development happen in the city or not? It's up to the urban planners. So what happens that different urban planners will have different opinions. Although the policy or regulations or the disciplines it remains constant, but the planners or the implementers or the institutions, how they are going to be implementing the policies are different. For example, again, coming back to an example, okay, let's talk about floods. All the provincial policies for Punjab, Sindh, Balochistan, KPK are more or less same. Then why Sindh, let's say, okay, why Balochistan have failed to implement their policies? Policies are same, institutions are there, people are even there. Okay, policies are there, SOPs are there. Why certain institutions fail to implement the policies? Okay, so anyone, any yes, Mubashir. Mubashir, you have a question?
जी सर, इसी के ऊपर कमेंट करने थे सर। वो सिंध की पॉलिसीज के ऊपर बात कर रहे थे सर। ड्यू टू इनएडिक्वेट इन्फोर्समेंट ऑफ कमर्शियलाइजेशन पॉलिसीज, सर उसमें इस तरह था कि उन्होंने बड़े सारे रोड जो पहले रेजिडेंशियल थे उनको कमर्शियलाइजेशन के स्टेटस दे दिए, और उनका बाद में लोगों ने वहाँ पे कमर्शियल बिल्डिंग्स बनाई और फिर ऊपर उसके अपार्टमेंट्स भी बना दिए 10-10, 12-12, 15-15 स्टोरीज के। और लेकिन उनका सर जो इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर था नीचे, उसको अपडेट नहीं किया गया। वही जो रेजिडेंशियल पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से जो इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर था वही ऑलरेडी लेक कर रहा था। 10-10, 20-20, 30 साल भी हो गए, लेकिन इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर वो वैसे का वैसे रहा। तो प्लानिंग पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से देख लें या पॉलिटिकल नेग्लिजेंसी देख लें, तो ये वाले फैक्टर्स थे जिसकी वजह से कराची के अंदर बहुत ज़्यादा फ्लडिंग की सिचुएशन हुई थी। लेकिन सेम सिनेरियो में अगर पंजाब में देखें, लाहौर में देखें, यहाँ पे भी जब हैवी रेनफॉल हुआ तो उसमें हमें ये वाली प्रॉब्लम्स नज़र नहीं आई थी, क्योंकि जो कराची में थी और यहाँ के जो माइंडसेट डिफरेंसेस थे ये वाले। इधर लाहौर में भी कमर्शलाइजेशन पॉलिसीज हुई, लेकिन यहाँ पे स्टेट ऑफ माइंड डिफरेंट था। जो इम्प्लीमेंटेशन थी, इन्फोर्समेंट थी कमर्शलाइजेशन पॉलिसीज की, यहाँ पे डिफरेंट थी। और कराची में ड्यू टू हैवी पॉलिटिकल इंटरेस्ट, वेस्टेड इंटरेस्ट ऑफ डिफरेंट वेल्थियर पीपल्स, तो इसकी वजह से भी ये प्रॉब्लम्स चल रही थी।
ओके, आपको चले छोटा सा एक बताते हैं कि अराउंड लाहौर में अगर प्लानिंग इंस्टीट्यूशंस में बात की जाए तो देयर आर अराउंड 12 to 15 different organizations which are managing the city. जबकि कराची में there are over 30 different organizations, different institutions which have play a role in managing a city. So when there is a multiplicity of different institutions in a certain area, within a certain area, then the issue of having an integrated master plan, integrated development, that is very difficult. For example, हम सिर्फ सिंपल लाहौर की बात करते हैं। आपका मास्टर प्लान है, आप बना लेते हैं, LDA को देते हैं, लाहौर डेवलपमेंट अथॉरिटी को देते हैं कि आपने पूरे लाहौर का मास्टर प्लान बनाना है। वो मास्टर प्लान फेल हो जाता है। One of the most probable reason is your DHA, your Kents, your River Ravi Development Authority, your Walled City Authority, your Model Town Authority. These are some of the names which are coming to my mind. They are not bound to follow the Lahore master plan developed by Lahore Development Authority. Yes, Ms. Nida.
So इसमें एक पॉइंट ये भी हो सकता है ना कि वो इंटीग्रेट करके पार्टिसिपेशन से बनाया ही ना गया, इन आइसोलेशन में मास्टर प्लान की डेवलपमेंट हुई हो, जिसकी वजह से फिर वो ओन ही नहीं करती दूसरी अथॉरिटीज। और दूसरा ज्यूरिसडिक्शन का भी पॉइंट हो सकता है कि लाहौर में तो इस तरह के बहुत केसेस हैं कि ज्यूरिसडिक्शन जो है, जब कोई मसला होता है तो कोई भी ओन नहीं करता उस एरिया को जो कॉन्फ्लिक्ट में आ रहा होता है।
Totally agree, Ms. Nida. यही मेरा पॉइंट है कि even if we ensure maximum participation, हम इन सबको इन्वॉल्व भी कर लेंगे, लेकिन अगर कोई मास्टर प्लान की वायलेशन करेगा तो देयर इज नो लीगल बाइंडिंग टू पेनलाइज दैट पर्सन और दैट इंस्टीट्यूशन। जब हम उसको पेनलाइज नहीं कर सकते, उनको हम कोई सजा नहीं दे सकते, तो देयर इज नो पॉइंट ऑफ पार्टिसिपेशन और नॉट पार्टिसिपेशन। ओके, पब्लिक पार्टिसिपेशन की वजह से हो सकता है इश्यूज कम आए, लेकिन इश्यूज आएंगे फिर भी। तो आपको जो इंटीग्रेटेड मास्टर प्लान का वर्ड हम यूज करते हैं तो वो that does not hold water. That does not that will also be true for all other cities of Pakistan. क्योंकि हमने अपने areas of chunks को divide किया हुआ है under different jurisdictions. So when different people have different jurisdictions, that would be very difficult to have a consolidated plan. Yes, Mr. Ahmed Arif.
Sir, I just want to add to the point of Mubashir Hussain. That sir, basically, sir, I don't know, sir, if any of the other students here are civil engineers, but my background is civil engineering. So I know, sir, for the fact that in Pakistan, sir, basically, sir, there are two types of drainage systems that are used in worldwide, sir. One is, sir, wastewater drainage system, and the other is storm water drainage system, sir. Sir, mostly in, sir, Pakistani urban environment and, sir, big cities, sir, a mixed drainage system is used in which both storm water and wastewater is collected in the same drainage system, and so forth, so on, sir. But, sir, the irony is, sir, that our wastewater drainage system is inadequate, sir, to even handle the wastewater, sir. And in case of storm rainfall, sir, they, sir, overflow. Sir, this is the main reason, sir, I think, sir, is the cause of this urban flooding, sir, in Karachi and even in Lahore, sir. So, you have been in Lahore, sir. You know, sir, how they used to funnel out the water from the underpasses in Lahore, sir. So,
Okay,
basically,
okay.
I think, sir, it is a lack of. Okay, sir.
Okay, Ahmed, very good question. आपको let's take a आपको मैं simple इसका आंसर सिंपल बताता हूँ. ड्रेनेज सिस्टम किसकी बेस पे तैयार होता है किसी एरिया का ड्रेनेज सिस्टम?
सर पॉपुलेशन की बेस पे, सर. सर स्टॉर्म वाटर ड्रेनेज.
स्टॉर्म वाटर ड्रेनेज सिस्टम डिफरेंट, वो डिपेंड्स ऑन द रेन. अब मैं आपको सिंपल ड्रेनेज सीवरेज की बात कर लेता हूँ. सीवरेज का सिस्टम, सीवरेज सिस्टम इज प्रीडोमिनेटली डिजाइन्ड ऑन द पॉपुलेशन. ओके,
यस सर.
लेकिन हमें जब पता ही नहीं है कि हमारी एरिया की सिटी की पॉपुलेशन कितनी है, तो हम कैसे फैसिलिटीज प्रोवाइड करेंगे? ये अर्बन प्लानर्स का बेसिक इशू है कि वी कैन नॉट प्लान बिकॉज वी डोंट हैव द इनफ डेटा. अगर आपको पता ही नहीं है कि इस सर्टेन एरिया में, लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल सोसाइटी ए में 1 लाख लोग रह रहे हैं, आप ड्रेनेज सिस्टम 1 लाख लोगों के मुताबिक डिजाइन करेंगे, लेकिन आपको पता ही नहीं है कि इधर 2 लाख रहेंगे, 3 लाख रहेंगे, कि 5 लाख रहेंगे, या कितने, इवन अभी भी कितने लोग रह रहे हैं. तो आपका ड्रेनेज सिस्टम का क्या, अगर आप पाइप बड़ी डायमीटर की ले डाउन कर देंगे, दैट इज अनइकोनॉमिकल, और अगर छोटे की करेंगे तो सिस्टम चोक हो जाएगा. सो आवर बेसिक इशू है, इवन इन ट्रांसपोर्टेशन प्लानिंग, इवन इन many urban planning studies in different disciplines of urban related to urban planning, जब तक हमारा बेस डाटा पॉपुलेशन का नहीं होगा, देन वी कैन नॉट एक्सट्रापोलेट, या हम सिनेरियोज ही नहीं बना सकेंगे व्हाट वुड बी द फ्यूचर पोटेंशियल ऑप्शन अवेलेबल टू अस. सो whatever planning we are doing, it will ultimately fail because we don't have the basic data, which is the population. Ms. Nida, you had first question. So you got this point about drainage, right? Why drainage system is different?
Yes, sir. Yes,
okay,
sir.
thank you.
Got
it. Yes, Nida, you raised your hand first.
No, sir, no question.
Okay, Mr. Arham. Yes.
अस्सलाम सर. सर, जैसे आप कह रहे थे कि हमें प्रॉपर पॉपुलेशन का आइडिया नहीं होता कि कितनी पॉपुलेशन यहाँ पे इस एरिया में होगी, तो बट हम लोग एक्सटेंशन तो वेरिएबल कर सकते हैं ना. इन फ्यूचर हमें अगर एक्सटेंशन करनी हो तो हम लोग उसके लिहाज से तो प्लानिंग कर सकते हैं.
अच्छा, लेट मी टेल यू, आपके ख्याल में पाकिस्तान में सबसे ज्यादा सिटी का ग्रोथ रेट कौन सा है? और हम आपसे क्वेश्चन है, किसका ग्रोथ है सबसे ज्यादा आपके ख्याल में? गेस करें
सर. इस बारे में आइडिया कोई नहीं.
गेस करें, लूज गेस.
सर मे बी कराची.
Yes, the first option which comes to mind is maybe Karachi, maybe Lahore, because they are very big cities. No, it is Islamabad. No one anticipated a rapid urban growth in Islamabad. हमारे जो पिछली प्रेडिक्शन मॉडल्स लेके जाए, 98 के जो सेंसस के मॉडल्स लेते हैं हम, उसमें बताते हैं, they tell us that Lahore and Karachi is growing exponentially. But what happened that after, and we are still extrapolating based on that 98 census. And if we are, and if we actually have a census 2017 के जो statistics release हुए थे, उसमें लाहौर, कराची के urban growth rate, population growth rates were drastically lower than we have anticipated or which we have used in our models. Similarly, इस्लामाबाद में इतनी ज्यादा कभी किसी ने no one anticipated या based on the data हम extrapolate जितना भी कर रहे थे, we were extrapolating wrong. So what happened is Islamabad rapid increase in population in Islamabad. Then what happened that there is no space left in Islamabad to even bury the dead. The graveyard, the percentage of graveyard in Islamabad is being changed because of increasing population growth rate, there will be an increasing death rate as well. And when there will be an increasing death rate, we need to provide graveyard spaces in the city. And Islamabad does not have enough space to even provide graveyards. So what happened that the new regulations in CDA was proposed. I don't know if it's approved or not yet as of yet, but it's been proposed to raise the percentage of 2% graveyard to maybe 4% in the new housing scheme developed in the Islamabad. So what happened? All our planning, all our options, they all failed. So that is one of the basic reason behind this lack of data. तो extrapolation भी आपकी most of the time fail हो जाती है. हमारे पास इतने data sets ही नहीं है back end पे जिससे हम accurate estimation कर सकें. What is? Yes, Ahid Naveed. नवीद
जी सर, अस्सलाम वालेकुम।
वालेकुम।
अच्छा सर, अभी आपने बात की इस्लामाबाद के ग्रोथ की, इसमें 2-3 फैक्टर्स जो मैं समझता हूँ कि जब ड्यूरिंग द ऑपरेशन इन केपीके साइड, वहाँ पे जो भी केपीके के जो लोग थे वो भी इस्लामाबाद शिफ्ट हो गए थे। मीनवाइल जो कराची में जो मतलब जो सेफ्टी के इतने खास मरीज नहीं थी उनके पास, तो वो भी मोस्टली जो पीपल यहाँ पे इस वक्त इस्लामाबाद में जो आ रहे मतलब जो आए हैं जिनकी वजह से इतनी ग्रोथ आई है, ये बेसिकली 2 ही मतलब थे, जो लोग कराची से आए हैं और जो लोग केपीके से आए हैं। तो उसकी वजह से आप लोगों की जो एक मॉडल था या जो उसकी मतलब प्रेडिक्शन थी वो उस पर कामयाब नहीं हो सकी।
ओके, आई गॉट हिज पॉइंट अभी, लेकिन द पॉइंट इज कि ये चीज हमारी भी स्पेकुलेशन है कि कराची से शिफ्ट हुए हैं या केपीके से शिफ्ट हुए, अनलेस वी हैव अ ब्रेक्ड अप डाटा, disaggregated data. If we have the data, then I can easily, okay, then maybe I can say that because of this change in population, then that is happening. But without, again, my point is, without the data and without reliable data, we cannot make better. That is one of the reasons urbanization or urban planning is being failing in the city, or which has been very difficult to implement. That is one of the main reasons. Also for the institutions. Institutions does not know how many affordable houses should be provided. They don't know what is the housing backlog. All are being estimated. And whatever we are, and when we are doing an estimation, there is only 2 options. Either we are overestimating it or we are underestimating it. If we are overestimating it, we are wasting our resources. We'll be constructing ghost towns or empty housing schemes. And if we are underestimating, then there is, the policy has failed. The government has failed to provide affordable housing. So there's only 2 options, underestimation or overestimation. So without data, whenever your estimation might be way less or might be way more. Again, I might be wrong, people might differ with my opinion. And that's okay. That is what urban planning is. Opinions differ. And that is, then we compare which opinion is better, logical, with scientific or mathematical backing. Then we can decide which option to take. That is the point of comparative planning. Yes, Ahmed.
Sir, can we use the data of Pakistani census of population of 2017?
Okay, the government has not released the data.
Okay, sir.
Only major cities ka they have like maybe major settlements का उन्होंने दे दिया है, but disaggregated data, for example, male कितने हैं, female कितने हैं, children कितने हैं, कितने पढ़े लिखे हैं, educated कितने हैं, disaggregated जिसको हम data कहेंगे, breakup data वो available नहीं है.
Sir, and how's that been made available if we need that, sir?
Okay, if you find a way, also tell me.
Oh, okay, sir.
Okay, coming back. Okay. So, okay, coming back to the why urban planning. So what happens that all the policy or planning decision we made on assumptions or made on our thinking, which has limits. It might have scientific limits, it might have theoretical limits. Theoretically, for example, we can say that certain problems, zoning is a very good, for example, I would say zoning is a very good option for managing urban growth. Then why land use are failing in Pakistan? Why zoning is or master plans are failing in Pakistan? So even theoretically, we might be true, we might be correct, but practically there are many limits to urban planning because it is influenced by many. Again, I'm telling social, economic, political, cultural factors, and those factors are most of the time they are unknown. Most of the time, you don't know which factor might play a very vital role in defining your master plan. You might have planned according, theoretically, you might be very correct. Scientifically, you might be correct. Your model would have been very correct. But what happened that certain unseen circumstances, like for example, one of the students just said that due to the operation in KPK, there was a drastic change of population in Islamabad. That we cannot entertain in the model. That is an unknown factor, and that can play, or that can, you can say, drastically change your output of the models. Okay, so that is why your master plan might fail. So then is like practice. Urban planning is relatively a upcoming profession, or you can say, well, it started in Pakistan in 1960s. Urban planning profession was there, but it is being recognized after the 2001 Planning Act of Pakistan. It is being recognized as one of a very major profession because of the rapid urbanization. Urban planning has emerged as a whole profession. Okay, so with practice and with many failures, maybe if we learn from our failures, why certain master plans have failed, then we might be able to make more realistic or practical, or I should say pragmatic approach for developing a better master plan. Okay, so practices, we need to compare our own practices, and you might have gone through some papers which they have a certain sections which says lessons learned. So lessons learned are basically that those papers are highlighting the issues which has contributed towards success or a failure of a particular phenomena. So those lessons learned must be incorporated in new master plan to make it more, you can say, precise and accurate. The more limit, if your assumptions are limited, if you are reduced, then your plan would be more realistic. Okay, then comes this comparative urbanism. That is our whole subject definition, that it is a systematic study for similarity and differences among cities and their urban processes. So urban processes might be governance, might be policies, anything which have implications for city or the built environment. Anything which is contributing towards the built environment are part of the urban processes. Anyone, any question till now? Anyone, any comment or any question? No? Okay. So one is why we are doing comparative planning. Okay. The first point is that we want to improve our current planning practices. We need to become aware of the diversity and ethnocentrism. Ethnocentrism is basically knowledge about culture. For example, there's a saying that let me explain in Urdu that हम कहते हैं पाकिस्तान का खाना सबसे अच्छा है पूरी दुनिया में. Pakistan food is the famous all over the world, or it's the best food in the world. That is the example, classic example of ethnocentrism, that you are judging food with respect to your own culture. You have not tasted all the food of all over the world. So how can you say, or how can you pass a judgment that Pakistan food is the best food? So in Pakistan, what is happening in urban planning, we say zoning is the best tool. Have we studied different tools to control urban growth or not? So how can we say that this is the only tool available to us? Because we know it, maybe because that is which was being taught to us in bachelor level. What are the other options available? So we need to improve our current practices depending upon different diverse options available to us. So ethnocentrism, I will go into, there is a slide on that as well later on. So then is the advancement of planning theory. Planning as a discipline, I told you, is evolving. We were having a discussion in this urban planning, different professions in which urban planning, due to the dynamic nature of different problems, urban planning has evolved, you can say, greatly. Other disciplines, for example, let's say, even structure, for example, let's say structure, there is some changes in material, but more or less the structure basis of load distribution remains same. But in urban planning, due to different social, cultural, economic issues, cultural issues, urban planning has evolved all over the world. If you cannot apply the same principle of the 18th or 19th century of today's modern world, because nowadays urban planning is now integrated into this smart city concept. Then there is a problem of climate change and poverty. So what urban planning was working towards poverty alleviation. Now we have moved on towards smart city development, climate resilient development. So in the beginning, urban planning was based on like improving the social health conditions of people, like give them proper spaces, leave 10 feet from the flood because of air and ventilation. That would urban planners would ensure that city would remain spacious. Okay, let's provide ground for people to make healthy activities. This should be the space of the road. That was the initial aim of the urban planning profession. Then it evolved into poverty alleviation, that rural areas are deprived of certain facilities. So rural areas should have better facilities, poverty should be reduced, economic opportunities should be provided to the rural area as well. Then came the smart city concept, that because of the rapid revolution of IT, Internet of Things, so that should be integrated into urban planning. Everything should be linked to GIS-based platforms. And then recently, this climate change impact. So now we are developing the cities according to climate resilient development, that all of the urban form or urban built up area of your city should be climate resilient. So it is an evolution. So planning theory or urban planning has rapid advancement over the years. So that is one of our main objectives of comparative planning. And then maybe towards in the end, unification of the field. Maybe at some point we'll find a theory which unifies the concept, or which says that urban growth or unplanned urbanization will be solved by using this theory. So maybe we are juggling different options, and we are trying to find the best option. And maybe at some point there will be one option available to all, which will follow. Okay, then comes the ethnocentrism. I was talking about the word ethnocentrism. It is basically evaluating others' culture according to the conceptions of our standards and our customs. Okay, let's say, I'll give you an example. I'll give you my example. When I was studying abroad, there is a concept, there is a social norm in which when you are passing each other, and you open the door for other person and you give them a smile. Okay? कोई बंदा आपसे गुजर रहा है, आपकी आई कांटेक्ट हुआ है, तो आप स्माइल करते हैं. जब मैं पाकिस्तान आया वापस 5 years के बाद, तो मैंने भी उस टाइम कोई पब्लिक लोग जा रहे हैं तो आई कांटेक्ट हुआ, तो मैंने मुस्कुराया. बंदा लड़ने को आ गया कि सर मुझे देख के हंस क्यों रहे हो? Okay? So that is what is ethnocentrism. कुछ cultural things which are true for other societies will not hold true for Pakistan. For example, जो हम गाड़ी चलाते हुए हेडलाइट्स को निपर मारते हैं, पाकिस्तान में it means that give way. but in certain society it means you can go ahead. So we must not judge other cultures based on our concept, on our culture. Okay, you got my point? Anyone, if you want to add any example to this ethnocentrism? Anyone? अपना कोई रूल या अपना कल्चर का कोई ऐसा नॉर्म जो बाहर की सोसाइटी में मैच नहीं होगा, या बाहर की सोसाइटी में वो चीज उल्टी समझी जाएगी? यस नवीद।
सर सिंपली जो लेफ्ट हैंड ड्राइव और राइट हैंड ड्राइव का जो मतलब कॉन्सेप्ट है वो भी हर कंट्री में एक वेरिएबल होता है। हमारे यहाँ पे अब लेफ्ट हैंड ड्राइव है, बाकी मुल्कों में राइट हैंड ड्राइव होता है।
चलें, ये तो कल्चर, ये तो एक रूल एंड रेगुलेशन है। Okay, to some extent I can say that. Okay, Hamza, if you have any example.
Yes, it is not exactly from our own culture. It is actually from Iran's culture. So if you give someone a thumbs up anywhere in the world, it is understood that you are saying that you have performed a great job or an excellent work. But in Iran, if you give someone a thumbs up, then they find it abusive. So it is the equivalent of a middle finger if you're giving someone a middle finger in Iran. So
okay, got your point. So that is what is some social customs which might, so that is also true for Pakistan as well, for urban planning disciplines as well. Yes, Ahmed. You have any?
Sir, I just want to add, sir, if you look at different countries culturally, sir, I just want to say that, sir, every country is, sir, very different from the other countries. I mean, sir, there are many examples a person can give in which a culture of one country is different to the culture of other countries. I mean, sir, Asians are very different to South Asians, and South Asians even are very different to Arabs, and Arabs are very different to European countries. And I mean, sir, so many examples can be given to that, sir.
Yes, sir. Got your point. That is what I'm saying. That similarly, same holds true for the policies which were developed according to their own needs. For example, the policies developed for Middle Eastern countries, the same policies cannot be applied in Pakistan. Urban planning, that is the problem in urban planning. We sometimes try to use the same policy, even if we have like customize it according to our needs, the same policy would fail in our country. And that is sometimes I feel that my own students or urban planners I've seen in the field, they are blindly following American planning system. So what happens that sometimes some of the policies they pass, they are successful. Sometimes they are unsuccessful. Okay, so those policies are according to their own socio-cultural context, which applied in Pakistan will not like be very much useful. So that is the problem of ethnocentrism, that they develop policies according to their own culture, and we are interpreting the policies according to our culture. That is why आप देखा होगा आपने कि एक आपका सिस्टम आता है, कोई पॉलिसी आता है, तो उसके 6 महीने बाद एक अमेंडमेंट आ जाती है, फिर 6 महीने बाद अमेंडमेंट आ जाती है, फिर 6 महीने बाद एक और अमेंडमेंट आ जाती है. वो क्या मसला है? The problem is that we did not incorporated certain things in that policy, which were becoming a problem. Yes, Umar.
Sir, I have a question. Sir, we are just talking about the social key indicators. Can we compare? Will we also compare economic key indicators in this course scope?
Yes, we will. हम poverty और inequality की बात करेंगे. We will be talking about how to reduce this poverty gap. We'll be talking about inequalities a lot. We'll be having some. I'll be talking about some mathematical models to compare and identify the factors affecting those success or failures, or you can say influencing factors. Yes, we will do it in the later lectures. Yes.
Sir, can we compare the GDP of two cities for urban planning development? One of the key indicator, as one of a key indicator, not the only key indicator.
I would not say GDP. I would say GDP per capita as an indicator. Yes. So two cities might hold GDP, but if one of them has a higher population, then that GDP per capita will be lower. So defining an indicator is very important. And unfortunately, we don't have we have the GDP per province, but we don't have GDP per you can say per city, per settlement, because in the developed country, if not even developed, I would say in Thailand and Indonesia and Malaysia, they can even assess how much a particular village is contributing towards the annual GDP of the country. They have such a disaggregated data, but we don't have any data. We have the GDP at the provincial level. We don't even have at the city level. Like there is a loose definition that you can say talk about that Karachi is contributing about 40 to 50% to the GDP, but we cannot prove it. We don't have the data. It might be true, it might not be true. So yes, GDP per capita is a very good indicator, but we don't have the data. Yes, Umar.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Yes, Ms. Mariam.
Sir, I have a question. Why don't we have all of this data? And can we convince the government to collect all these data? And how so?
It's a very good point. That is a political agenda, I would say. If we are dividing, if we are finding out, giving that this certain city has this much population, then the more electoral seats will be from particular city. And if that city is a stronghold of a particular political party, then they will try to distort, the opposition party will try to distort those population figures. So we will not, both parties will not accept each other's population figures, because we are going to dividing our electoral votes based on that population. And regarding data about certain, we can say, we are talking about documented economy. And when you document an economy, there is a very less chance of corruption, very less chances of mismanagement. So that is why people try to stay in the gray areas. It's not like they don't know, Ms. Mariam. They know what is right, what is wrong, but they don't want to do it because that will raise some undue checks on their economic activities. Got my point?
Yeah, I got your point, Magar. Is तरह तो there are other countries जहाँ पे corruption or political agencies होती हैं.
Yes, just continue.
So how did they convince their government, और हम क्यों नहीं कर पा रहे? Even India में भी इतनी researches हो रही हैं urban planning में, और वहाँ पे भी data हमारे से तो ज्यादा ही है. तो हम किस तरह से convince कर सकते हैं, या फिर एक न्यूट्रल बॉडी ला सकते हैं? क्या गवर्नमेंट ला सकती है, क्या हमारा प्राइम मिनिस्टर ला सकता है, और हम कैसे उन्हें इन्फ्लुएंस करें कि वो इस तरह की चीजें लाएं?
ओके इसलिए मैंने एक बात की थी शुरू में कि पॉलिटिकल कमिटमेंट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, और दूसरा प्रोफेशनलिज्म हमारे में जो प्लानर्स की इतनी प्लानर्स या इवन जो टेक्नोक्रेट्स आई वुड से दे should have their own technical and technical capabilities or capacities that they can challenge the government decision, or they can influence those decisions. So what is aap jo baat kar rahe hain disaggregated data, that data is again politicized. That was the main reason it was the 2017 census data was not released. How can we convince them? Now that is a very good point. Again, I was telling you that they know that if you release this data, that it will come back to them. For example, if there is certain population in certain areas, people will know that this much economy or this much tax. A documented economy is that everybody must have a bank account, and every transaction must be done through the bank. And when everything is being done through a bank, then we will know how much tax is due on certain persons. And that is, if we do that, then there will be checks on everyone. And we as a Pakistani, we are not ready for that. Our governments or our politicians or elites, They're not ready for that. For example, let me tell you that, for example, the recent government has decided to ask everyone to pay through the bank account. The traders, they came on the roads that we will stop business, we'll stop doing business. And when the business is being stopped, the government, they were getting, for example, 5 billion tax. They will now get maybe 1 billion tax. So the government said, okay, please continue your businesses. So that is one of, in my opinion, one of the reasons that we make their own unions to get individual benefits. I mean, how many of you are, let me say, how many of you have FBR accounts? I would have suggestions. Right? How many of your uncles or aunts they have FBR accounts? Like these are, if you document certain things, these will all be like, this is a whole different debate, economic system. I will go again, we'll talk about this in the socialism and capitalism. Yes, Ms. Mariam, you have any other question or?
No, that's all.
Okay.
I mean, I do still want to know. I guess it just depends on us being the best professionals and being able to persuade them. So power of communication, that's the solution.
No, I mean, yes, communication. I'm telling you, they know that. They know that these problems can be solved, but I will not cut off my own arm. Okay? कहते नहीं अपने पाँव पे खिलाड़ी खुद नहीं मरेगा, क्योंकि या जो कहते हैं कि एक another proverb is जिसके अपने घर शीशे के हों वो दूसरों पे पत्थर नहीं फेंका करते. So that is the proverb. That is the problem, that they know this is right, but if they do that, their own, for example, I'll talk about today's government. If they do this certain things, their own political members will be charged with corruption. So that is the reason that whole party is okay, let's not do that. There is like, let's have a win-win situation. So I mean, there are so many complex factors involved in this urban planning profession that you cannot only pinpoint this is the only reason. Everything is linked to another. Yes, Ahmed Arif.
Sir, I just want to say, sir, about that previous discussion about the GDP and economic growth of the countries. You said that it is heavily politicized data, mostly the countries which give the data of their GDP. Sir, I just want to add to that point, sir. Recently, sir, there was a huge fight between the Congress party and BJP party of India regarding this issue, as the Congress was accusing the BJP that they have falsified the GDP which they gave, and they used a wrong model to project the wrong GDP to show the world that they are progressing. Also, sir, I just want to ask you a question, sir. Sir, I mean, if you search on the Google, sir, Pakistani GDP is almost $300 billion, and but if you look at the ground reality, and if you see people around and look at the lifestyle of the people all around the Pakistan, I mean, we are more than 220 million people, and most of us have I mean basic I mean needs of life. So this figure of 290 or 300 billion US dollars does not seem to be on accurate. I mean, so what do you say about that, sir? I mean, it may be wrong. I mean, I want to ask that, sir.
Okay, I got your point, Ahmed. So we as a Pakistanis, we are like raised to be very distrustful of strangers. So there is a nature to not trust anyone. Okay, so again, I'm telling you, the data might be true, might not be true. And regarding that, the data is falsified, that is also possible. Like, for example, if I want to distort the figures, if I want to say that I have done a very good job, I will do a survey from a low-income area using all sampling method, all statistical methods. I will collect the data. I will say this is the economic situation of my city. And then to show the progress of my city, next time I will collect the data from a high income area, solving same mathematical model, same statistical model, and then I will come out, look, within 2-3 years, I have developed my city from here to here. Okay. So again, that is possible. I'm telling you the trick of the governments. When they need funding from certain organization from abroad, they will they will show that we are too much poor. We are lacking in this development. But when they want to show the performance of their own government, they will distort the figure, exaggerate the figure. So yeah, that is also true. Yeah, you're right. Okay, Ms. Rida, I think you had a question. Ms. Rida, you have a question or not?
No, sir.
Okay.
Only one question.
Rida, I think. Okay. Yes, Ms. Mariam, you can go ahead.
Sir, इस सारी information के बाद question ये आता है कि if we have such a scarce data, तो हम इस वक्त planning कर किस तरह रहे हैं?
Very good point. Yeah, that is a very valid question, and I would ask the same question to my own urban planners who are practicing the field, my own colleagues, that how they are not doing the master planning if they don't have the data. So yes, we are doing everything on ad hoc and estimated, I would say. Everything is being done on estimation. Yeah, that is all I can say. Is any other question or any opinions? So what happens is rather than working on overall integrated or finalizing the city problem that, okay, this is how city problems will be resolved, we should look at the problem, only the one problem at a time. For example, urban growth, urbanization or urban expansion. Okay, that will be managed. If we are looking into urbanization, then will be options and then we can work together to resolve the problem. But if you're going to limit the urbanization or boundary or the urban growth, then you have to sacrifice, you have economic costs, you have social costs. You should go for high-rise development, different tactics to control the development, but at the sacrifice of other constant. For example, if you are saying, no, we should save the environment, we should not convert agriculture areas into built-up area, then you're sacrificing the economic costs. But if you want an economic growth of a city, then you have to bear the consequences of environmental degradation. So there is a very difficult thing to balance. For example, some urban planners would be of the opinion that economic growth is the most important for a city. Other would say no, social welfare is the most important. Well, some will say that no, let's save the environment first. Environment comes first, nature comes first. So you have to keep a balance, and which is very difficult. That even the planners have you can say different opinions on that thing. Yes, Ms. Mariam, any other thing?
No, sir.
Okay, then, coming back to the ethnocentrism, like I told you before that Pakistani food is the best, northern areas of Pakistan are the best. So if you're saying that Pakistan, northern areas like Switzerland, so aren't you saying that Switzerland is better than Pakistan? So these are some cultural misunderstandings or cultural. For example, then there are some words which you cannot translate, certain policy words or, okay, in your own language, what is certain word which cannot be translated into another language, another language? Anyone? Any word which comes to your mind? Which is culturally okay for that area, but it cannot be used for in any other culture. Yes, Hamza.
Sir, one of those words would be mana. It is commonly used in Punjabi culture and in Hindko culture. However, it has no translation or meaning.
Yes, got it. Yes, Harun.
Patwari, sir.
Okay. So Patwari cannot be like translated to another language. Okay. So there are certain this same holds true for the policies. There are certain issues which will be only applicable in that culture and which cannot be replicated in another culture. So in urban planners are of most of the time they are inside this loop. They cannot come out of their own culture. They cannot like think out of the box sometimes. So I'm not saying all of them are like this. I'm just saying that urban planning profession is without studying the rest of the urban planning procedures or systems of the rest of the world, we cannot blindly follow an American system or a British system. We might the Chinese model of urbanization might be better than that, but for that we have to study it, and then we have to research on that would that system would be practical in Pakistan or not. Okay, so I think I'll wind up the lecture for today, and we'll have a discussion of the types of urban lecture in the next class. So for now, again coming back, if you have any question of today's topic, you can have a question and you can start ask in Urdu as well if you are comfortable, whichever language you are comfortable with. So any question, any debate, any remarks? Yes, Ms. Mariam.
There was a discussion that first world and second world, the terms are discriminatory. So I wanted to ask why.
Okay, first world, second world, or third world, these are terminologies by the you can say by the developed countries. They are, for example, okay, it brings back the debate of Eastern and Western societies. Which country do you think is developed? What is development? Which is developed, which is undeveloped? For example, I can ask you. Yes, Ms. Mariam. In your context, which is developed country and which is not developed? Which is modern country and which is not modern country? Yes.
Basically, which would have more opportunities and more revenue, more GDP. That would be a first world country.
So isn't the word of this written the last one? The last one wouldn't that hold true for that purpose?
As in developed?
Yes, lower income, middle income, and higher income countries.
True.
Yeah. So basically, first, second world is basically by the colonists. They considered subcontinents. We were minding our own business basically, and they came to us and they told us that you are undeveloped, uncivilized people. Okay, so we were at our own development pace. So, and right now we are considered westernized world is the developed world, and we are not developed. So that is the debate behind this developing countries.
All right, thank you.
Yes, Ahmed.
Sir, I just wanted to ask, sir, I was not sent the mail for this link for this class, sir. I asked the students to send me the link, sir, so that I could join, sir. Kindly, sir, look into this issue, sir.
Okay, you did not get your email. So
Yes,
I floated an email. You can just write it down. This email, I think. Okay, I'll write it.
Yes. Oh, okay, sir.
Kindly email for details at here. Kindly email me your yes, and I will be sending you a WhatsApp link. Okay.
Okay, sir.
And yes, and I'll send you the link, and then we can I'll add you there as well.
Oh, okay, sir.
So meanwhile, I think you are. Yes. Next. Yes.
Sir, sorry, I was not in the starting session. So मैंने सिर्फ ये पूछना था क्या ना मैं एक तो lectures वगैरह आप daily like share किया करेंगे हमारे साथ
Basically ये जैसे ही I think lecture is off, then I'll just stop the recording and then I can have talk freely with you guys.